All right, pleased to be joined by Rafa Campos, and a lot going on in his life right now. You're a new father, Paula, your young daughter at home. How's life at home for starters?
Life is at home is unbelievable. I won't lie to you. It's been really cool. It's a blessing to be a dad. I know it took us a long time, my wife and I, to be able to have a baby, and now that we do have a beautiful daughter, man, it's been so cool. Especially this last week, I had off. I was with them all the time. They traveled with me the last 3 weeks as well, and it's so cool to see how fast they start growing, or how fast like the hair starts growing, and she's getting fatter, and man, it's so cool. This morning I woke up and the first thing I did was turn on the baby camera just to see her sleeping, and I caught her. I caught her at a perfect time. She was just waking up, and it's so cool when she wakes up. She starts smiling a lot, not during the day, but that morning. So she's happy to see people, and man, I'm just really happy that part of my life is. I'm really excited.
Totally. Yeah, all of us fathers, like there's just so much pride that we have as the development happens with our kids. And I'm curious, speaking of development, look at you from the perspective of your parents, right? Rafael and Carlota. Um, what are they like as golf fans? How would you compare and contrast them?
They're extremely different, polar opposites. Okay, but it's so cool because since I was little, they've never changed their demeanor as far as like they never pressured me to play golf. They never even pressured me to go practice or anything like that. And so to this day, I'm 36 right now, and since I was 10 years old, every time, I'm not kidding. To this day, same thing. If I have a poor day at the golf course, if I had a bad day of work, when my mom calls me and I pick up, her tone of voice is she thinks that I actually it's the end of the world for me. She thinks, right? So she still thinks that I still have the same mentality as when I was like 14, 15, that I thought the world was ending. So she
You're
would
still
just
the
basically say, "Hey, honey, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, mom. I just had a bad day at, at the office," and it's like, "Oh, but it'll get better and all that." So she suffers a lot more than I do. And the funny part is, my dad is completely opposite. My dad is a weekend golfer. He plays once a week, approximately once or twice a couple of weeks, and he's a 90 shooter or whatever. He does not know or does not care like what the difference is between a 60 and an 80. So if I go out and I have a bad day, let's say I have horrible day, shoot 80, let's say, he will literally pick up like when I pick up, he's like, "Hey son, great job today. Good playing." I'm like, "Dad, I just shot the worst score I've shot in 7 years." He's like, "No, but you did great. Don't worry about that." So it's really cool to see how both of them to this day, they are exactly the same as when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old. And it's a great motivation. I mean, I know they all they care about really is for me to be happy and enjoy what I'm doing, or at least to work hard on whatever I want to be doing. So I'm very blessed to have the parents that I do have, and hopefully I can resemble them, and hopefully I can be like that for my daughter eventually.
100%. Yeah, well, I mean, and they have a lot to look forward to with your first Masters coming up here at Augusta. What is it about this that you're looking forward to with your family there? I mean, like, what kinds of things are you just so excited
Okay.
to soak in?
I I am so excited for honestly right now two things. Uh, One, to stand on that first tee box on Thursday and hit that first ball. I know when I won a few months ago, one of the questions that somebody asked me was like, "Hey, now that you get to play Masters, you get to play Phoenix, you get to play the Players, you get to play Century. What's the shot you're most looking forward to? Is it 13 at Masters? Is it 17 at Sawgrass? Is it 16 at Phoenix?" And I'm like, when I thought about it, I'm like, no, honestly, I'm just more looking forward to that first tee box on at Augusta and just standing there and just realizing and taking in the fact. I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm actually playing in the tournament. For so many years that you've dreamt of this moment since you were 9 years old, 10 years old, and now you're going to be able to compete and play in the Masters. So that's one I'm really looking forward to. And two is the par three contest on Wednesday. I cannot
Got to.
wait for my baby daughter to have a little bib with her last name and my wife to caddy for me. I just cannot wait for that particular moment. Those are the two things, and obviously I'm extremely excited that my entire family's going. It's something that they know means a lot to me, and I'm just really happy that fortunately I'm going to be able to have my entire family going and seeing me. And actually just being in the grounds over there, that's something I always wanted to give them, and I'm just grateful and blessed to have that chance in a few months.
Yeah, well, you'd have to. And I would think also just sharing things, milestone moments with people that have sacrificed so much. I know for you in particular, 15 years as a pro, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and so to be able to share that with Stephanie, your wife, and your
Yeah.
parents, and you've mentioned the rest of the family. I mean, what is that going to mean to you?
Oh, it means the world to me. It's just like you said. The sacrifices. We don't realize how much, how like they understand how much we sacrificed. Throughout our those years to be able to get to where we are. But at the same time, they've sacrificed so much. And when the victories that I've had, that Corn Ferry Tour victory, when I got my card to the PGA Tour in 2019, when I regained my card in 2023, and obviously when I won in Bermuda, I got more satisfaction out of seeing their reactions and seeing them cry and all that because I know how much it meant to them as well as me. And I guess the video that I saw, I had no idea after I won Bermuda, and then I saw the video of my family being at my house watching me win. I watched that video, kid you not, 30 times, and every time I watch it, I just would focus at one person in my family in particular each different time, and I would cry even more because I'm like, man, I can see how much it meant to my dad. I can see how much it meant to my mom. I can see my younger brother crying hysterically, like nervous back there before I even went to putt. I can see my wife. Oh, yeah, when I saw my wife just drop down and start crying because she also understands how difficult and how stressful and how painful this game is for a player like myself.
Mm.
Hopefully, I would love to get at some point to the top 20 in the world and all that. Have a different mindset in golf, but it hasn't been easy for me and for my family. So these little milestones and breakthroughs mean way too much for me, my family, and for the Puerto Rican fans as well.
Right. Well, you said it hasn't been easy, and I think about like what are a couple of the low points that you've really had to dig deep in this career.
Uh, I was biggest depression, honestly, was last year. Last year, by far, mid-season, almost at the end, I was in the biggest depression I've ever had in my life because I've always had a fallback plan, or I've always had something that I knew I was either going to have a job secured for the following year or whatnot, or if I lost my card on the PGA Tour. I was fortunate enough that I had won the year before on the Corn Ferry Tour, so I was going to have a job. And this year in particular, um, golf was just being so bad. I mean, I was just playing such a horrible game. And I started putting. It all started. It's funny how things work in golf. It's all mental. So I remember
Right.
I started last season. I actually started last season fairly good and consistent. I think I made 6 out of the first 7 cuts or something like that, like 4 top 25. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great year. And all of a sudden, my wife tells me the Monday after the Puerto Rico Open, hey, we're pregnant. We're going to have a baby. Obviously, the best news in the world. And it is unbelievable how my mind completely switched. That I remember from that day. I said, okay, we've been doing good. We have an opportunity here to, like, we're at the highest level in golf. We have an opportunity to start making a lot of money to save for my daughter. My mindset literally just became like, okay, I just want to make as much. It wasn't even about golf. Like I never think
Right.
about money in that case, but it was like, hey, I want to make as much money I can so I can save for my daughter. And I forgot how to play golf. I completely lost it. I started getting really upset, expecting a lot out of myself. And after I missed 15 out of the 16 cuts, and by midpoint there, I don't know how many times I called my wife crying, telling her like, man, after missing another cut, another cut, another cut. I remember I was in Utah, just missed a cut. I couldn't take. I couldn't take it. I was driving with my caddy. I dropped my caddy off. Don't remember where it was, and I told him like, hey man, give me an hour, give me 2 hours or something like that. And I
Some
called my wife,
space.
and
Yeah.
I remember I just started driving to a mountain, like just one of these scenic views and all that. I get to the scenic view and I start crying hysterically in the car, and I'm like, man, I don't know how much my body can take, how much my mind can take this. And I call my wife. She was having a tough time also back home, like dealing with some stuff, and I try to be strong for the family, obviously. But she realized when I called her, I wasn't crying at that point, but she realized there was something wrong, and we spoke, and I started. I don't know how many times I called my wife those 4 months before I won, crying, saying like, I am just so depressed because I'm working harder than ever to
Yeah.
because I want to provide more for my family now. Working harder than ever, and I'm seeing worse and worse results every single week. I feel I'm getting so far away from the goal, and yeah, I think last year was a lot of ups and downs in golf. But like I said, I always had a little backup plan, or I had somewhere I was going to be able to play. But this particular past year, 2 weeks left of the year, and I was working so hard with my psychologist to accept the fact that there was a really high chance that I was going to lose everything I've worked for 15 years, and would I have been able to accept the fact that, man, it's either we stop playing golf, which highly doubtful that I was going to stop playing golf, but I just couldn't go through the process again. Like it was
You
so
didn't no status whatsoever.
no
You at
status
square one to
whatsoever.
that point
Square
on
one
any tour or
on any tour. That's the thing. It's hard, that part. You work your way to the big leagues, and all of a sudden you have a bad year. You kind of would like to be able to have a fallback and know you're going to AAA or something like that. But
yeah.
golf doesn't work like that if you don't, unless you win or something like that. And so I was very depressed. I was very upset. I was very. I knew I just needed 2 more weeks, and then I'd have to rethink my entire life, and us having a baby, like waiting for a baby and all that. I didn't know what I was going to do, and God has God works wonders, man, like wonders, and something unbelievable happened on the least expected moment, and all of a sudden we have a job. We're still struggling in the golf part, but all of a sudden we have job security for a couple of years, and I have enough time to make the changes that I need right now, which I am making some huge changes the last few weeks, for me to be able to find that consistency and find my golf game again.
Mm. Well, speaking of job security, I know for a lot of people on tour, there's only 100 cards for 2026. Like, how stressful is that going to be out there?
It will be very stressful, especially because of the signature events. I believe you got 60 guys out of those 150 guys, or 140 guys that have a card. Not 60 guys that really don't have to worry about that. Signature events grant a lot of points, and it's yes, you'll have a few that might not play well and not get enough points to get, but you're really only playing for 40 cards,
That's
approximately.
crazy.
And it's really hard because these guys are so good. And the younger kids that are coming up, they're fearless. They're hitting it so far, and it really is stressful, hard. I know I'm very fortunate that I won when I did, because at least for this year, I don't have to think about that. But at the same time, like I know the guys that work their butts off, they're going to have to even work harder and get luckier sometimes this year, in particular, because we are cutting back 25 cards, And when you look at the big picture, you're really not granting 125, 100 cards. You're really granting like 40 approximately. If everybody would be playing in a level playing field, then it'd be 100. But that's not the case.
Totally. Well, hey, before I let you go, one last thing I want to ask you is like, as a Puerto Rican, what does it mean to represent Puerto Rico in the Masters? I know there's a lot of national pride for
Oh
you, and
man!
of all
See, I
people.
got I
Hey,
got goosebumps all of a sudden. Yeah.
what does that mean as a Puerto Rican? But then also your favorite memory watching Augusta over the years.
Uh, okay, so what it means? Obviously, it means the world. Just the fact that it's been 40, 50 years since a Puerto Rican has played at Augusta. Last person was Chi. I'd be the second person to be able to step on those grounds like during tournament play. So it is
Doesn't sound too
obviously
bad.
no. I don't think about it like that, but no, it's definitely pure honor. I mean, I've been so fortunate to I've been born and raised in Puerto Rico. The talent that the younger generation that's coming up has so much talent, and I really want them to realize, like, man, you guys play a million times better than I did back then. Like at your age, like if I can do it, you guys can like definitely do it. Please don't quit. Like I think this would really, really motivate so many Puerto Ricans to keep working because it will finally be after 15 years as a pro, it'll finally be my first major championship. And what a way to start a major, like my first major being at Augusta. And I know it's extremely important for me, and I'm blessed to be able to know that there's going to be a Puerto Rican flag at Augusta because we're playing there. And favorite memory, man. Honestly, there's just so many because of Tiger. you know,
Gotta
there's
be,
so many.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so many quality putts. Like I'm actually looking forward to hopefully being. I do. I, I'm still thinking that obviously I want to win. That's the whole reason why I'm there and I'm playing. And I don't see it as if it's not doable. I'm visualizing myself having the same putt that Adam Scott had, that most of those guys had, like 15 footer, a little bit right to left on 18 for the win. I don't know. There's too many good memories. Or the chip shot on 16 for Tiger. Was it? Yeah, the chip shot on 16 for Tiger. When he holed
As good as
out,
it gets, yeah.
that's as good as it gets. Yeah. No, there's too many. There's too many. Honestly, there's too many like moments I've seen on TV. I'm just looking forward to stepping on those tee boxes and seeing the actual holes in person and trying to play the course. Like I've only walked it once when I was in college, and that's the only time I saw it one day. And so can't believe I'll be able to get to play it.
Well, exciting stuff, Rafa. Really appreciate the time, and good luck before you get to the Masters here the rest of the way.
Thank you, guys. Truly a pleasure here always for you guys. Whatever you guys need.